सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Who speaks for India's Muslims now? This is not a rhetorical question. In fact, today, who can or is even trying to fill Mulayam Singh Yadav-sized hole, the Mulayam Singh Yadav-sized hole in Indian politics? The answer is none. The BJP's rivals want the votes of the Muslims but are afraid to be seen as being friendly to them, because then they are scared they might be painted as being anti-Hindu, and that is the fright in which they are living. For clarity, this week's national interest is not an obituary for Mulayam Singh Yadav, who just passed away. Plenty has been written about him by way of praise, tributes, obituary, critiques, etc., etc. So that time is over. But the fact is that his demise gives us an opportunity to look at a particular aspect of our politics. It is just that since the 1990s on, he had risen as the prime spokesman of Indian Muslims, Maulana Mulayam, as the BJP mocked him. His demise is an important moment, therefore, to examine the vacuum in Muslim leadership and why, after partition, the leaders of India's Muslims have been almost entirely Hindu. This is particularly so in a week when the Supreme Court has kicked the can down a road that is more political than judicial on the hijab issue. And when a Taliban or an Islamic State style flogging of young Muslim men by police in pole-bound Gujarat's Kheda district passed without minimal comment from those with the ambition to defeat Narendra Modi. And you know who all I am talking about in this case. This happened in front of a cheering crowd in Kheda. It was filmed and videos were widely shared. In fact, some of our coverage on this you can catch in the links I will share with you with the description of this video. Their alleged crime was that they disrupted and threw stones at the local Garba celebration. Even if they are guilty, this isn't how anybody is punished or called to account in a constitutional republic like ours. Nor has public flogging ever been part of the Hindu tradition, however conservative it might be, at least not in living memory. Do you recall some incident like that? Even if this atrocity is a seminal event in our political evolution, the picture will endure as much as those of the first floggings in Ziaul Haq's martial law regime kept surfacing to remind us how awful religious extremism is. Young scholar Asim Ali, in an article he wrote for us, again I am sharing a link with you in the description, he did raise a provocative question. Why are we calling this flogging Taliban style? Why be shy of describing it for what it is? Hindutva style. It is understandable that this gets a lot of Hindus backs up. How dare somebody compare us Hindus with those pre-medieval, violent and lawless right-wing, very deep right-wing, conservative Islamist forces? We are not like that, or at least that's what we'd like to believe, and for good reason. I would like to believe that too. We haven't, however, raised questions about this, introspected, been outraged as we might have pretended to be if a few Ahmadiyas had been seen flogged like this by the police in Pakistan with a mob of Tehreek-e-Labbaik cheering on there. We would have said, oh, what an awful state Pakistan is. Does the blame then for not questioning this fall in our own social, constitutional and moral values lie with us, the majority in India? To say so will not only be self-flagellation but futile, and will neither bring any succor to the Muslim minority nor make people understand the gravity of what has happened and then say never again. It is at junctures like these that a diverse democratic republic needs political voices. They've mostly been missing over the past week. The most critical political contestation in 2022-24, when the next general election takes place, is how each party's secular commitment is defined. Many claim to be secular, even the BJP claims to be secular, but people will be judging how each one's commitment is defined and will be voting in terms of which one do they take most seriously or which one do they find most acceptable to them. That is democracy, like it or not. Arvind Kejriwal and his AAP have shifted to Gujarat because they see an opportunity in the elections next month. After winning Punjab, if they build a large enough dugout in the Prime Minister's home state, they will be a formidable force by 2024, and that is their ambition. Ambition is a good thing in politics. Audacity of this kind we have come to expect from AAP. Did you meanwhile see any of its leaders or spokesmen visit the families of victims in Khera, hold a press conference, tweet about this outrage? There were some tweets, I'll talk about that in a minute. Kejriwal's AAP isn't the only political force to blame. We mention them first because, at least for now on the ground, theirs is the loudest political voice against the BJP. The Congress is not there as yet. Maybe once the election dates are announced, they will surface, but we can't, so we have to wait. The Congress, the BJP's preeminent rival in Gujarat, which came close to causing an upset in 2017, is silent too. It's getting headlines and photo ops for what it calls Bharat Jodo Yatra, but avoiding Gujarat so far. The premise of the Yatra, Bharat Jodo Yatra, is that the BJP has divided Bharat. Otherwise, what are they uniting? And if so, why is the Congress not trying to Jodo Hindu and Muslim in Gujarat? Why do it in the south, not in Gujarat, where such an awful thing happened? An appearance even by a fact-finding committee would have made a point. Jignesh Mevani is the party's most visible face from Gujarat and a relatively recent prized acquisition. He's built his career and reputation through activism and agitation. He's not seen in Kheda. Kanhaiya Kumar, who thought he launched a revolution every weekend at JNU with his fiery speeches, triumphantly posts his pictures and videos from the Yatra. But Gujarat, Kheda, where is that? Wo kahan hai? A smiling Rahul Gandhi hugging young and old, including a school child in a hijab, is building an image of compassion, courage, embrace of diversity and equality in contrast to Modi. Interesting idea in politics. If that's the objective, however, won't it be better served with pictures of him hugging families of Kheda victims as well? Or instead, if not instead, as well, some leaders like Chidambaram, Mevani, KCR's son KTR either tweeted or made a passing comment and moved on. Mamta's TMC filed a complaint with NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, which, by the way, hasn't done very much about it. And this is how a key AAP member in Gujarat explained their sidestepping the issue. In an interview to the Indian Express, and you will see parts of the interview, the relevant passage on my screen, he said, law and order in Gujarat is worse than UP or Bihar. Gujarat is not safe, but then he also went on to say the issues in Gujarat are about something else, better governance, effectively positioning it back in Aam Aadmi Party's transactional approach to governance and politics. The larger inclination to stay away from getting involved in Gujarat, in Kheda, it only indicates that the BJP's rivals have become so psyched, so scared of being seen as Muslim friendly and thereby anti-Hindu that they would rather duck. They believe that they no longer have to speak for Muslims as their vote will come to them out of the Muslim sphere of the BJP. So why take pangas? Why then upset the Hindus by sounding to be pro-Muslim? Because Muslims will vote for us anyway because they may not love us, but they fear the BJP more, and fear is a stronger emotion than love. The most prominent example of this is the way the AAP government had distanced itself from the entire mess in the course of the Shaheen Bagh agitation and the riots that followed in Delhi. We know they do not control the Delhi police. AAP does not control the Delhi police, but a presence of reassurance in riot-affected areas, a healing touch, a clear position demanding equity before the law among those incarcerated for more than 2 years, it has all been missing. This is real politics and it has worked. That is the important part. It has worked. You want to see how? Contrast the AAP leader's absence from Kheda or from any such situation where Muslims are victims, and in exactly the same week promising free pilgrimages Tirth Yatras to the new Ram temple in Ayodhya. That's what they did in Gujarat last week, in the same week as this outrage took place. As this larger political game plays out, hiding behind it is a dangerous phenomenon where a 20 crore plus minority is rudderless. This is a reality barring a few states. Maybe you can take out Kerala to some extent, West Bengal to a large extent, maybe Telangana, but more Tamil Nadu, but most other states, this is the reality now. A vacuum has grown, no secular force is moving in, and localized Muslim leadership is taking advantage. The Indian Union Muslim League oversees AIMIM, the PFI and its affiliates. This is a reversal in India's post-partition Muslim politics. It was for good reason that after Muhammad Ali Jinnah, India's Muslims have never trusted a fellow Muslim as their leader. Jinnah divided not only India but also his own community. Or today Muslims would have been a bloc of about 60 crore and a predominant electoral force in an undivided India of about 180 crore people. Now Jinnah was no visionary who built Muslim power in the subcontinent. He destroyed it instead. That's why Indian Muslims placed their faith in the Congress and Gandhi dynasty after independence, after partition, not in another Muslim leader, not even in Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. After the Babri Masjid demolition, the two Yadavs, Mulayam and Lalu, took away the Muslim vote, at least in the Hindi heartland. Their politics has weakened. Mulayam and Lalu's politics has weakened over time only because their political imagination became limited and confined to sustaining their dynasties. Plus, they built this reputation of being caught up with lawless mafias, if not really being partners with them. In any case, in politics, impressions are all that matter. And it is because they built that impression that you can see, for example, in Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath keeps on winning while people may have many complaints, because one issue on which people see the difference, or they believe they see the difference, and what matters is what people see, is that law and order is improved and old mafia connected governance as they saw it has now gone away. Besides, of course, the two Yadav leaders, once they got the power, had a single point agenda. That was to perpetuate the power of their dynasties, of pass it on to their children and hoping that they will continue to be in power forever. Yet Muslims did not vote for leaders of their own, from their own community, except maybe parts of Telangana. And Telangana, by the way, has Asaduddin Owaisi, who's probably the most articulate and forthright of the community's spokesman. And yet, in Telangana also, in limited areas, he did not get many Muslims votes. He might have gotten here and there, a few in Maharashtra, a few in Bihar. But remember, of the 6 seats he won in Bihar, 5 have gone back now to RJD. So Muslims by and large did not accept him outside of Telangana as their leader as well. Muslims today can't but take note of how frightened most of the secular forces look in engaging with them. Forget offering comfort, even on a Kheda-like outrage. An Indira Gandhi, a younger Lalu, a Mulayam would have had no such fears. They would have moved right in. It's in this empty space that forces of the very conservative, angry Muslim right are moving in. All of these aren't necessarily democratic. The PFI story is only an early warning. And in case you wonder from which strange place am I speaking to you today, this is Providence, Rhode Island, the home of Brown University, where I had come to speak on media and democracy in India. The text of that lecture will be posted on the print website in the next few days. Please keep an eye out for it and send me your comments.